The Omnichannel Capability Assessment tool enables companies to map and benchmark their current capabilities across 6 key disciplines that companies must master in order to provide a truly customer-centric experience. The tool is based on a model that has been developed by over 60 experts from the industry and is documented in the book Make It All About Me by Rasmus Hovland. To gain access to the tool, you simply sign up, you go through and submit your company's mapping alone or in collaboration with your team, and you gain access to the online report that will highlight your company's strengths and weaknesses. In the report, you're able to benchmark your company's current capabilities with your competitors within your industry, companies of a similar size, or however else you choose to tailor the benchmark. If you've chosen to invite your team to participate in the mapping, you're also able to see internal gaps within the company in a structured manner. The Omnichannel Capability Assessment tool provides your company with actionable insights and enables data-driven decision-making for your next strategy meeting.
The Omnichannel Hexagon is a model that I've been working with for quite a while now. It covers 6 disciplines that you should master in order to create as many seamless customer journeys with as few resources as possible. It's not your standard rated chart. This is a model that puts the customer in the center. So instead of measuring maturity from the inside and out, we put the customer in the center and we measure maturity from the outside and in. I found, together with more than 60 experts helping me in building this maturity model, I found that these are the 6 disciplines that you should be focusing on if you want to achieve customer centricity. We found that it's an extremely useful tool for creating meaningful conversations around the subject across both departments and competencies. Customer recognition and permission gathering is the first discipline in the Omnichannel Hexagon. On the first level of maturity, it's about being able to identify your customer. If you want to, at some point later on, reach out to your customers with a personalized message, then you need to at least know which customer is it that you're dealing with. So that's where the recognition part comes in. As soon as you start being able to recognize your customers, normally you recognize them on these digital handles that you also use to communicate with them on. You recognize them on their email address, their phone number, their app ID, or even a cookie. As you're able to reach customers across channels and recognize them, you start building up volume. It becomes a natural focal point for a company at this place. So you build up a large customer database, and then at some point you're more obsessed with actually getting your existing customers engaged than with actually hunting down new customers. So this comprises the 3 levels of this discipline within the Omnichannel Hexagon.
I would say we are going from the middle maturity level to the top level. We are able to recognize almost all our customers across channel, online with a login session, and in-store it's not as smooth as we would like, but it's able for us. And of course, when we send an email, we are able to know who they are and what they prefer. During the last 2 years, we have built one of Denmark's biggest loyalty clubs with more than 500,000 permissions. And now we are going from volume generating to get more loyalty within our customer club.
The second discipline within the Omnichannel Hexagon is about data collection. Data is kind of your memory of each and every customer. So if you want to, at some point later in time, be relevant, then you need to have these data in place. When we're talking about data in the Omnichannel Hexagon, it's always about customer data, or data that can be correlated to some kind of customer intent, some customer action. In the outer level of the maturity level, in this discipline we have what we call billing data. It's the data that you need to have in order to actually be running your business. So if you are a finance customer or telco customer, you tend to have a lot of data. If you are in the retail business, for instance, you really need to make a customer club in order to get even purchase data on a customer level. Today, companies are using a lot of different digital channels, and these are all born with data collection capabilities, but not necessarily, that doesn't mean that they necessarily are integrating them. So at the innermost or the highest maturity level of this discipline, we have the integrated customer profile. So data is integrated, you can pick out any one single customer, you can see everything they ever did or clicked or read or purchased or whatever.
On data collection, I'll say we are in the middle maturity level. We still have a lot of work to do. Of course, as a retailer, we use our customer club to generate the most of the data, both personal profile data and order data. On profile data, we have a lot of interests, such as favorite football team and etc. We combine that with satisfactional data, and also now with the digital channels, we try to collect behavioral data and combine it to a single customer view platform, and moving on to working with marketing automation in the near future.
If you take data collection seriously, you will at some point in time end up with a lot of data. This is where the big data problems start to come in, because at this point in time, your business wants to be focusing on what do we do best, what should we be doing now, how do we prioritize our efforts. So in the first level of maturity, companies within data discovery will be looking at how they can do purchase analysis, basket analysis, how they can do anonymous surveys, and you might already be doing a lot of this stuff. But on the second level, you'll be moving into to behavioral segmentations. So you'll be looking at which customer behavior, which customer data correlates with profitable customers or unprofitable customers. The customers that churn, that cancel their subscription, what happens in the data the month up till this happens. So these behavioral segmentations can then be used for how you communicate with the customers and find out where do we actually make our money and which priorities should we be doing. In the third level of maturity in this, you'll be using all this data to real-time predict what is most likely going to happen with the customer. So if you can see that a specific customer is just about to cancel a subscription, or a customer is just about to purchase this good or that good, then you can take action upon this.
Data discovery is for sure the discipline with the lowest maturity level in Sportmaster. We are not experts, and for sure we have a lot of work to do. Of course, we do some sales forecasting and satisfaction measuring on a high level and a store level, but not as customer oriented as we would like to be. We are starting to do some behavioral segmentations and testing with baby steps, but for sure in the future we will be more oriented on do predictive data to be a better retailer on data.
The fourth discipline in the Omnichannel hexagon is about communication and service. Ultimately, this is what it all boils down to. You want to be creating these one-to-one intimate customer relationships with your customers. But again, we start from scratch, most companies do. So in the outer level of maturity, the first level of maturity, we have mass communication. And this is the sort of the set-off point for where you start engaging with your customers. And I believe that you should probably always be doing mass communication to some extent, because there will always be some customers that you don't have a contact with, you don't have a permission with, you don't have any data on, and so on. So mass communication is not dead, but you should perhaps think of it in another way. So you use this as a starting point for creating your customer relationship. The customers that you do have a relationship with, where you do have a permission, where you do have data, why not use this data and the insights that you do have in order to create more segmented and more personalized communications, moving just a bit closer and not doing the one-size-fits-all communications, but using these more narrow segments to give a more personalized experience. If you're really good at this in the third level of maturity, this is where you could go actually into one-to-one communications. So no matter on which channel you meet your customer, whether it's the customer coming to you inbound in the store or calling you up in the call center, or you're reaching out to your customers with email marketing, marketing automation, text-based messaging, or whatever, the customer will experience receiving as a message that it's in direct line with where they are in their customer relationship, where are they in their customer life cycle. So marketing will not be perceived as pushy, but actually be a welcome service.
On communication and service, we are in a middle maturity level. For sure, it's the hardest discipline of all to find the right marketing mix. We do some mass communication, of course, and we'll do that in the future too, because it generates a lot of sales. But we can also see when we do segmentation and personalized communication, we have some impressive results. Today it's a little bit handheld, so we have invested in a new platform to find and be better on doing the right mix between mass communication and personalized communication. Some of the things that we'll move on with is trigger flows, life cycle flows, and event-based communication. So for sure it's an important discipline and we have to move on in the future.
Performance analysis is the fifth discipline of the Omnichannel hexagon. And where data discovery is a lot about looking forward and seeing what can we say about the future with data, it's also natural to look backwards and see what are the results of what we have done. So most companies are using performance analysis to gather up their sales and doing some evaluation of their brand performance. Most customers are also interested in measuring sales per channel or engagement or reach or open rate, all these channel-specific measures. But I believe that you get what you measure. So if you're into creating customer experiences that are seamless across channels, then you need to also be focusing on customer metrics in the way that you do performance analysis. So you should be measuring stuff like customer lifetime value, net promoter score, customer satisfaction, and so on, and see how these correlate. So if you are launching a new app, for instance, the interesting thing here is not how many people have downloaded the app and how many views do we have and how many have picked up on this. It's also, note that I say also, it's also about the profitability of the customer using it. So the customers who are using our app, do they in fact become more profitable when using this? This is a way that customer-centric measures can help you see whether or not you're succeeding with Omnichannel.
On performance analysis, we are at the top level, and it's for sure our CFO's favorite discipline because it's here you can see some effects. As a retailer, we have measured sales and performance by channels for ages, and we'll for sure do that in the future too. But the major step for us is that we have moved to looking at the customer metrics, and everyone says that omni-channel customer is more valuable than a single channel. That is true for us, and we can see that in the data. And it's a major step in the omni-channel journey to prove your results by actually numbers and figures. We have also implemented some visual dashboards for our marketing department, and also here we can see a change in culture, being more data oriented and working with data day by day.
Organizing and management is the sixth part of the Omnichannel hexagon. And it's, I would say, it's perhaps the most difficult discipline, because the other disciplines you can mainly, to some extent, buy technology or engage with vendors who can help you on this journey. But organizing and management is key to actually building this up. So you need to be asking yourself whether you have the right competencies, whether your incitement structures are in line with what you're trying to achieve. You need to find out whether or not you have the right responsibilities within the right departments. You need to look at your data foundation and your ERP systems and stuff like that. Finding out, do we actually have the tools, and do we have the skills, and do we have the culture to actually achieve a customer-oriented business. So in the outer level of the Omnichannel hexagon, you'll be mostly focused on your product. How do we build the best product using science to achieve that? In the middle level, the second level, your company will be focusing on sales. So closing the sale on each channel, no matter what it takes, and no matter whether it compromises customer lifetime value in the long run. So moving from there to customer centricity is the hardest part. It takes a strong anchorage within your board of directors and within with your CEO, because you need to change the way that people are actually getting paid, and this is something that is a touchy subject. So moving from the product-oriented through the sales-oriented to the customer-oriented level here is what you need to work on with your organization to achieve omnichannel success.
On organizing and management, we are moving to the top maturity level because it's anchored heavily in our board of directors, because it's driven the valuation of our company, and also highly anchored by our CEO, which is important for the omnichannel journey, that the CEO supports this journey. We have worked a lot with culture, because we know that culture eats a lot for breakfast, also technology, and we have spent a lot of time on educating our store managers on the whole omnichannel and customer-oriented perspective, because they are meeting our customers on the floor every day, so it's important for us. We also have a lot of competences internally. Of course, we work with a lot of agencies, but we are on a highly skilled level on customer-oriented disciplines internally in Sportmaster.